Just kind of going over the project here. Yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and say it. So what I'm planning on doing is making, this is a mini truck, and this one's actually jacked up pretty high. I think it's got about a 3-inch lift on it. I'm definitely going to get smaller wheels, and I'm going to drop it back down. That's how my original truck was, this D21. So I'm going to drop it down, get smaller wheels, take the lift off of the back, but I'm going to do a lot of work on the back there. So I was talking about that fuel pump sounds real bad. There's a few other things I'm going to do. I don't think I'm going to make this a street vehicle, so I'm going to go ahead and eliminate a bunch of stuff, clean up this engine bay. So we'll do that today. And the fuel pump issue is not a big deal because I plan on pulling the bed off of this truck as well. The bed is holding some water, so that's impressive that the liner still works. A little bit of rust here, but here's the surprise. Here's the surprise. Here's what I'm going to do with this truck. I am going to make the miniest mini truck in the world. So obviously, like in some other countries, they have really small trucks, but this style mini truck, I'm going to make it as small as possible. So I'm going to drop it down. I probably won't scrape the frame on the road. I'm not going to drop it that far, but what I'm going to do is take the bed and shorten it. I'm going to move this wheel all the way up to here, right behind the cab, so it's going to be just as close to the cab as possible without, you know, touching it when it travels. And I'm going to shorten the bed all the way to there, so if the wheel's right here, then the bed's going to be this long. So I'll put a toolbox in the back and do some roadside rescue out of it, maybe, but again, it's probably not going to be much of a street vehicle. I think I'm going to do some fun things with the engine. I may try and put a turbo kit on it and do some burnouts, maybe take it to some events, and then just ride this engine hard until it blows. And then I may do a diesel swap or something else. So we're gonna have some fun with it, but it's got a bad clutch. So I'm gonna pull the transmission. I'm probably gonna inspect the transmission as well. I may rebuild it. I'm not positive on that yet. So today I'm gonna clean up the engine bay, and then I'm going to get the transmission ready to pull. I don't think I'll pull it out today, but I'll probably get everything loose except for maybe the support, the transmission support and mount, which is up here. And yeah, I'll probably pull the drive shaft. It's gonna have fluid come out of it. I'm probably gonna weld the rear end, weld the diff, and lock it. Maybe just do some, you know, start doing some fun things like drifting and burnouts, and you know, maybe make it down to some other events that some YouTubers do, and yeah, use this as a pilot project on this channel. We'll still be doing roadside rescue episodes, but we'll start working on some projects as well, some personal vehicle fun. So here we go. We're gonna clean up the engine bay, and then I'm gonna get working on that transmission as well, which shouldn't take too long to pull. And I've got a new radiator for this. Fan clutch feels fine. It's got the shroud. We'll talk through it as we go, but this radiator is nice and old and wrinkled up. So I've got a new radiator that's not so old, and it doesn't have any marks on it. Since I had a few of these and rebuilt a few, I've got a lot of spare parts sitting in some boxes, some buckets back behind the Jeep project, which we'll be moving to after we get this one going. So here we go. We'll start cleaning some stuff up. I mean, there's just a list of things I've got to do. This terminal doesn't fit right. We'll be replacing terminals, maybe relocating the battery, just getting rid of stuff that doesn't need to be here. So on these air filter housings, nobody has made a different style air filter housing for these. So I'm gonna do something. I know some people are using like some old Chevy S10 stuff on these, but not too hard to take off. But basically, I want to just kind of cold air this thing. If I put a turbo on it or something, I may, you know, develop a system that charges it right through here. Or I may try and find a different intake manifold that fits this vehicle, but is more of a forced induction style intake manifold. So we're not going to need any of this where we're going. I'm going to, again, first goal is just clean up the engine bay. So I'll probably hold on to all these parts just to have them, but I don't think they're ever going to go back in here. So. I was wondering how long this truck hasn't been driven for. I found this oil sticker on the windshield. It looks like it's been about, however long that is, 7 years, 8 years. So, while I was concerned, I thought I couldn't get the transfer case into all 4 gears, including neutral. If you want to count that as a gear, I could just get it between these 2. I've got this cover off now, and I realized to go into neutral you have to push down and then 4 low there. So it looks like it's going into all of its selections, so that's good. The fact that there's a P.O. box key in here leads me to believe that it was running fine. So I was looking up there, and obviously the engine's old and it has a few things missing or added, like different bolts and stuff like that. And it ran rough, so I was thinking, man, maybe they pulled a fast one on me. Maybe it was running real bad on top of having a bad clutch. But like, what are the chances if the clutch went bad? It was obviously driving. And then the fact that that P.O. box key is in there leads me to believe that somebody was using this to go to the post office at least. So it probably ran fine. There's the key for the truck itself. So yeah, but the reason I didn't realize that about the 4 gears, I never had, the one I had was 2-wheel drive. It never had a transfer case or anything. So that's new. The transmission's obviously different, but it feels like it's got all of its gears. So it's not very sloppy. That's how my old one was as well. This one's more sloppy than my old one, but pretty short throw into all the gears. And so that feels like it's going into all of them. I'll probably, I mean, it's a gearbox. I'll pull it and I'll just look inside probably when I remove the selector here and just see if any of the gears look like they're missing any teeth, look like they have excessive wear, and then I'll consider rebuilding the transmission. But again, the fact that I found that key, I had an oil change sticker. I'm gonna verify with the owner and see whenever he purchased it or if he drove it, you know, when that was. And so hopefully it's just that clutch that went out. But I mean, again, obviously it went out, so it had to have been working when that clutch went out. Clutches don't go out, you know, because something else went out. So, you know, it had to have been in driving condition for that clutch to go out. So we'll get this ready to pull. I've got that engine bay cleaned up quite a bit, and it'll be another day before I get this out and get the clutch swapped. Then I'm going to pull the bed on it because I'm going to be shortening the bed, like I mentioned, while I'm under there. I'm probably going to have to relocate the fuel tank, but we'll see how that goes. I'm going to do a bit of fabricating just because of the way the frame dips under the cab and comes back up. It's not going to be in its same spot. I'm probably going to switch to coilovers rather than leaf spring suspension. And, well, yeah, well, I got to get the bed off first, and I'm going to replace that fuel pump. It sounds bad, so a little bit more work. Alright, that was pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and put some clean rags in there to keep that clean, and we'll remove the selector on the transfer case as well. Alright, Mr. Mac's in his truck. Is this the MacBoy truck?
Yeah, it's my truck.
Nice.
Oh, this one has a steering light.
A steering light? Yeah, that's a steering light. It's a mirror. So I got both selectors out. I'm going to drain the transmission down. I think I'm going to call it good for the day. The drive shaft's going to be easy to take off with 4 bolts. If I take it off now, then that transmission oil is going to leak out of the rear end of that transmission. So I'm just going to go ahead and drain it with a 1/2-inch wrench. There's a drain plug on the bottom there, so I'll drain it out. And I think that'll call that for this episode. So it's moving along. I'll show you the engine bay. And probably the next episode I'll fix the clutch and get it running so I can drive it around. Then I'm going to take the bed off. Before I drive it around, maybe I'll take the bed off to get to that fuel pump as well, because man, it sounded bad. It's going to need new tires again, but I'm going to go with smaller tires. I think there's a crack in the exhaust manifold right there. I got that O2 sensor out of there, so I'm going to get a plug for that. I'm going to get that 𝐒𝐫𝐿 hose that I broke off right there, that pipe, removed. This is the actual 𝐒𝐫𝐿 pipe there. That's something to do with that system. All this stuff I took out over here. And over here I'm getting things cleaned up just a little. I may swap the battery over here. I just put the coil there. I didn't even tighten it all the way down, just to have it in some place. But this side's pretty much all cleaned up as much as I can get it. I'm gonna strip that wire harness down. I need the one plug just for the brake fluid sensor, but maybe I'll remove that anyways. I don't know. It just lets you know when you're low on brake fluid. So then we would just have, I'm not going to get rid of any of these relays. I don't know what they're for yet. And there's several of them just tucked around the engine bay. Yeah, that's that. We'll finish getting this cleaned up, but I may take the valve cover off and paint it just because they look a lot better when you paint them. On the ones I rebuilt, I always painted the block as well, but I'll probably paint this with the Roadside Rescue colors, and I'll probably end up painting the truck itself as a whole. So we'll drain that transmission and call it a day. That's a screwdriver. Maybe get an extension and a breaker bar. Never mind, there it goes. Well, that's pretty dirty. And there's a bit of particle buildup on here. That's all going to be metal flakes on this magnet, so nothing crazy. Looks like normal wear, but we'll check out the inside and make sure everything's good.
What are these?
Those are spade terminals. Yeah.
Red, blue.
All right, let's go inside.
Right.
All right, thanks for watching. I'm Ernest. Thanks for supporting the channel and the projects. And this one's going to be pretty fun. It shouldn't take too long to get it done. We'll probably have about a video a week coming out on this project. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see you on the next episode.